Okay, we're going to start the kiosk with a slight modification. I've gone ahead and simplified my Adobe Illustrator file so it does not include any of the text in here. And that includes even the title for the Visual Arts Complex. So here's the file that we were working on in the first movie of the series. And as you can see, it still pretty much works the same way. It points to the various locations. So what I want to do is I want to create a brand new document and put my map of the art department on the bottom. So I'll do File New, and I'll create a new document, and I'm going to go File, Import to Stage. I'm going to go to the desktop and go into my Adobe Illustrator file and load that up there. Open it up, and I only want the top option and the bottom option. I want it to resize the stage so that it matches the Illustrator file, and I want the artwork, the objects, to be in the same relative position that they were in the Illustrator file. That's it. So I'll import that. I'm going to do a Command 0, Command 2, maybe back up a little bit more, and zoom in right about there so we can see it a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to lock the bottom layer. I don't want to modify it at all. I'm going to go to my setup over here. I'm going to select all the layers here, and I'm going to do a right click and copy the layers. Copying the layers is not the same as taking something and copying it in the clipboard. I can actually copy this with the Command C, and I still have in a second clipboard the layers. So you can have a couple of copies floating around, but in my particular case, remember this is the last thing I copied. I'm going to go back to my empty document, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do a paste the layers in place. And so all these things come in. And in my clipboard, I still have that one thing that I copied. If I do a Command V for paste, you'll see this show up. So let me do Command V for paste, and there it is. That's the crosshair that I stole a minute ago. So that's always good to know that you're dealing with two different clipboards. Okay, so if I do a Command Return, it's going to come in with a default size, and you'll see that the document is huge, and I don't want a big document like that. So I'm going to go first. I'm clicking just quickly on the background so that nothing's selected. I'm going to go to More Settings, and I'm going to turn off my center to stage, both, and I'm going to make responsive. So centering will center the artwork right in the middle, and responsive will allow me to rescale the size of the window and have the whole thing size itself. So we'll hit OK. Now we'll do a Command Return, and then now it's responsive, and you can see that I can change the size. So that's a nice option to have. So this should all still work without any problem. And now I need to go generate more sets of these. So I'm going to have 6 categories, actually 12 categories, so I need to go get them. Okay, so I'm going to first start off by making extra buttons, and I'm going to relabel them. So this one in here is number 5. Remember, there's a 0, starts at 0 and it goes its way through 5, and that would be the 6th button that I have. And so over here I'm going to pick up number 6 over here, so I'll just name that, and I'll work my way down the line. Okay, so that takes care of those. Now I'm going to take these, and I'm going to copy these. I don't need this center point, so I'm going to hold the Shift key down and click on it so I deselect it. And now I'm going to hold the Option key down and drag those down below. And now I need to rename these as well. So I'll just go around the clock here on these. Okay, so let me double check. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, this one's in the wrong place, but it doesn't matter. As long as I've got the 5, I'll move this one up over here just so that they're in order. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, it'll be easier for me to put these in relationship to each other. So I just, that way when I see the dot, it'll line up. Okay, so I'm going to move this somewhere into the center of my artwork. And I'll do a command return. And we'll test the first one. So you can see that they renamed. These still are renames. But in here, this comes over here. And it's ready for me to move the location. And even though I move my crosshairs, it's keeping everything on the left-hand side. Okay, so now I need to bring in my code. So let's come over here and go to the actions. And in here, in these button lines in here, I need to add a whole bunch more. So I'm going to put in a comma, and I'll select this all the way through, copy that, and paste that. And so now again, this is going to become 6, and down the line I go. Okay, so now in here I need to name these with my areas of concentration in the art department. And I've already saved them in a text document, so I'll just go grab my text document. And it's right here. So I'm going to select all of these, copy that, and go back here and replace all of this. Okay, so everything looks good. Hopefully there aren't any mistakes in the code. So let's test this. So these up, I've got a couple of, these didn't take. That might be enough to throw the code off. Well, it looks like it's working okay. So for some reason, these didn't rename. So let me go look and see what the problem is with the last two. I might have an extra quote or something in there. So illustration, that looks okay. That's an 11. Ah, here's a problem right in here. So that's supposed to be 10, not button 410. That's what the problem was, I think. So, yep. So everything seems to be working fine. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to put these in their relevant area. So this one over here is, oops, close that, don't need that. This is animation. So animation's going to go over here in this area. And I'm going to go ahead and leave this open. That way I can always reference it. Okay, I'm just going to fast forward through all of this so you don't have to see me move this. I think it's pretty easy to figure out that I'm just moving the dots to the right location. Okay, so now I'm going to take this, I'm going to spread this out a little further. I'm going to have to increase the line values because they were made up for the smaller size. But while I've got these, I'll go ahead and spread them out. And I'll give it one last test run. And then we'll close this moving, and then the next one we'll start to edit the document so it looks a little bit cleaner. But we're pretty much almost done here, unless you want to add special effects to the animations. So I'll go ahead and turn on my preferences here. Everything looks okay. I'm going to align these to each other. And I'm going to go into one of them. It doesn't matter which one. And I want to just keep on drilling in until I get to the text. And there's my text box. I want to make that text box bigger. So let me zoom in here. And so I want to pull this out. And they all go because they're all referencing the same movie clip. And so now what I want to do is I want to bring in my hit area, and I'll get the free transform tool on that, and I'll hold the option key down in here so that it constrains to that one side. I'm just looking at the button below to make sure I've got the right length. And so let's see what that looks like. I'm going to stay in here in the button in case I need to modify it some more. Okay, so now we see everything spreads out nicely. And so wanted to check on ceramics. And ceramics is going where it's supposed to. Okay, so the reason why I've got the arrow tilting, and let me come back over here and go back to 50% and make my window a little bigger. The reason I have the arrow tilting is just in case I ever got too close to one side over another. But it doesn't have to be smack in the middle. I mean, this can work out just as fine. Whoops. It can work out just as fine on another location. Let me grab my selection tool, grab that guy, and move that over here. So now you're going to notice that the arrow is going to be pointing down on everything. So if I click on here, here it points down. Okay, so we'll come back and add some finishing details to the animation, and we'll be good to go.